Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I welcome you on this virtual learning system, session 2020. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, boys and girls? I hope you are studying at home in a good way. We start our first unit, subject social studies, lecture number 1, grade 4th, unit number 1, geography. In unit number 1, we have lesson number 1, the earth in space. My name is Amjad Shehzad. Let's start. Open your book at page 1. There is unit number 1 on your book, geography. It means geo mean earth and graphy mean that landscape, whatever on the surface of the earth and around it and above. We are going to start our first lesson, the earth in space. The earth is like a huge ball. Huge mean a big ball. We call this shape a sphere. A sphere mean a round thing like a ball. It is not quite round, but is flattened at the top and the bottom. At the north and south poles, you have already studied that one in class 3, that we have 2 poles, north and south poles. Hundreds of years ago, people had various ideas about the earth. Some people thought it was flat. Most believed that the earth was at the center of the universe. They thought the sun and the planets. Planets mean Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, Uranus. These are called planets. Moved around the earth. Today, we know quite a lot about the earth. The other planets, like the sun, the stars, and space. Astronauts, you know astronauts, those who go into space and study over there and get information about the universe and send it back to the earth, have been into the space in spaceships. Man has even landed on the moon. Student, have you studied that once? When did man land on the surface of the moon? It was 20th July 1969. And the astronaut named Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. These 2 men were landed on the surface of the moon. Machines called space probes have been sent out into space to find out more about the universe. These are the things which are sent into the space to study, to get information about the universe. Satellites orbit, go around the earth. They receive and send radio and television signals and gather and send information back to the earth. Some of these satellites have high-powered telescopes and cameras which send images or pictures of space and the different bodies in it back to the earth. Have you heard of the Hubble space? It is the biggest telescope in the space, or the Chandra X-ray Observatory. Observatory mean observation. They sit over there, work over there, and get information and see what is around that one. You can see over here these two things, satellite. These are the satellite, and you can see the earth shapes up in the sky like a huge ball. And these are the satellites which are sent into the space to get informations. When we talk about the earth and its movement, we use some special words. Here are some that you should know. First one, orbit. The path of the earth around the sun. Other planets and satellites also have orbits. You can see over here, these are the probe machines. We get informations up in the sky, in the space, and around the earth. And the second one, you can see the astronauts. They sit in the spaceship and go into the space. Look over here. This is the picture. Then Neil Armstrong stepped on the surface of the moon when the man first landed on the moon. And this is the Hubble satellite. This is the satellite. We can get information from one place to another and get back to the earth. As you can see, any kind of matches, live telecast from one country to another country only because of these satellite, help of this satellite. Here's the Hubble telescope, the biggest in the space, and Chandra X-ray Observatory. They get information around the world in the space and get it back to the earth. Axis. This is an imaginary lines running from the North Pole to the South Pole. As you already knew about that one, what is North Pole and South Pole? You can see that one through the center of the earth. The earth is tilted at 23.5 degree on its axis. Like this one, North Pole to the South Pole. It is in the center. It is in the center. Second one, we have another things, equator. It is also an imaginary line that runs all the way around the middle of the earth. Here, it is in the middle of the earth. This is equator. And the third one, we have hemisphere. Hemi means half. The equator divides the earth into the northern and the southern hemisphere. Look at one, northern hemisphere, and the downwards southern hemisphere. This is the Earth's axis. Look here, orbit. Orbit. It is also an imaginary line. We cannot see that one, but they sketch that one to understand what is the rotation and how is the rotation made. It is orbit, and Earth 23.5 degree, it orbits the sun and tilted 23.5 degree. Tilted means slope down like this one around the sun, and its rotation like anti-clockwise, and it starts from west to east, west to the east. This is called the Earth revolution. It is called the Earth revolution, and these lines are called orbit, an imaginary one. Now boys, student, look down, rotate. What does it mean, rotate? The earth spins or rotates from west to the east. Here, from west to the east on its axis. It takes 24 hours or 1 day to rotate once around its axis. Around its axis. The earth rotates itself around its axis. It takes 24 hours or 1 day. At the same time, the earth is moving around the sun. And this movement is called its revolution. This is called revolution. When the earth moves its own axis, it's called rotation. And when it moves around the sun and it takes a year to revolve around the sun, year means 365 days it takes to move around the sun, and that is called its revolution. And you understand that one, what is mean rotation and revolution. Rotation mean to round its axis, and revolution mean to move around the sun, and it takes how many days? 365 days, and year one. The moon is the earth's natural satellite. It revolves round the earth. Each complete revolution takes 28 days. And the moon, it spins around the sun and takes 28 days. Like this one, as you see, moon spins around the earth. It takes 28 days. The rotation of the earth causes day and night. The rotation of the earth causes day and nights on its axis. When the sun rays just fall down on the earth and the back side of the earth seems to be a darkness one, that is called night, and the front one is called day. It is spins, it is the causes of day and night of the rotation of the earth. The different seasons and climatic condition on the earth are caused by its revolution around the sun and by the tilt of the axis. 23.5 degree, as you can see that once it's tilted around its own axis, it causes the day and night. Places that are close to the equator are hot throughout the year. Places that are further away from the equator have different season. Student, you know that's one. It's very easy. The places which are far away from the equator have got the coldest atmosphere, like North Pole and South Pole. And the places which are on the surface of the center of the earth, where equator, you can see that one, northern hemisphere, equator, whatever the country, whichever the country and whichever the land on that equator, they are very hot. Like Middle East, Africa, to some extent Southeast Asia. This is the earth revolution. It goes around the sun, and it is like this one here, it moves around its axis and causes day and night. You can see that one, there is a darkness, and the front side of the earth just faces towards the sun. There is a day. You can see that one. The backside of the earth, night one. This is the moon's revolution. It goes around the moon goes around the earth. It's the natural satellite of the earth, and the earth moves around the sun. It takes, as I earlier mentioned, 365 days, 1 year. It takes 1 year to move around the sun. That is the moon revolution. Just see this one. It takes 28 days around the earth. As you can see this one. I hope you know it better. Read it again and understand it very well. It is a very interesting subject. I do hope you read it again twice and understand it very well. Good luck to all of you. Allah Hafiz.